Okay, boss. I'm actually super buzzed about this
Oh yeah.
conversation because first of all, this is episode number 200, right? And second of
Woo!
all, like I've for 200 episodes, I wanted to talk to a fighter, and I've
Yeah.
just not had the opportunity. Like I've fucking pinged out everywhere, right? Like I'm from the northwest of England, and boxing is a massive culture.
Yeah.
It's pretty much in every like bog standard back alley gym. There's like some sort of boxing club associated with it. So I've always
Mm.
wanted to speak to a fighter, and here we are. So I
Here
appreciate your
we
time.
are. You haven't got your boxer, but we'll do.
Hey,
Haven't got yourself a boxer, but I'll do.
you still throw some fists, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just a little bit more savage.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, exactly.
So, mate, like, talk to me. Like, you're a bit of a weapon. You know what I mean? So, what do we do?
What do we do? What do we do? Yeah, grew up playing contact rugby with boys since I was like 4 years old. So because savage from a young age and just like ripped into people at that young age too, just like had a froth for it. Like wrestling the calves and cows like on the farm. Like it was like I did not shy away from contact or aggressive situations in the slightest. Like I would usually amp them up. But troublesome like that there. And yeah, ended up discovering MMA 6 years ago and just like have not looked back from wrestling, grappling, all the whole caboodle like is just yeah, consumed me and I love it.
Wow. And I mean, do you want to like drop your latest achievement?
And my latest isn't much of an achievement.
Wow, come on.
Yeah, you know, but is but you meet my best one obviously, yeah, winning world champs, the last world championships. Winning that one there at lightweight was massive. We'd wanted to go to the IMF Worlds or an IMF event for 2 years at that stage. The first year, uh, I think I had broken leg for both of the years, really. The first year where it was recovering from that and I was playing rugby more focused on that there. So it wasn't such a big gutting incident. And then the second one when I broke it before the Commonwealth Games, like the day before, that was obviously heartbreaking. Going through all that surgery and recovery on the other leg, like only a year and a half later, probably, and missing out on that opportunity that year. So by the time we actually got to go to the Oceanias and qualify and actually go to the World Champs, it felt like I'd been waiting for it for a little while now, and I guess I'd only been fighting at that stage for 4 or so years, but like a couple of them I had leg breaks, so active for two. So when I say I started 6 years ago, again, 2 of those years on my ass, like with a broken leg. So it just feels like it was just slow, slow, slow. And then to finally actually go and win and dominate like in the way I did, I was so, so wrapped. Like, yeah. And then we just got to try and improve on that because, IMF is a bubble in a sense, the opponents, the girls you have. Yes, there's a huge variety of girls and guys that are fighting in different countries and different skill sets, but it's a bubble, it's amateur. It's all tested, you're in a pretty safe place. So looking forward to this next world champs at featherweight, and knowing that that's a division full of savage athletic girls. Like I'm not going to be like this smaller faster one, like maybe at lightweight. Like these girls are faster than me, you know what I mean? Um so it's going to be interesting in that sense to see what we can pull off, and then from there, continuing on pro after that.
Wow. Is then UFC?
No shit, no, we're a ways away from being to that standard for sure. We've got a bit of work to do. Yeah, got some work to do to be ready for that kind of level. But there looks like there's something good we're putting in work for about February, March. So I'll wait for that to be confirmed before I put it out in the open. But like
For sure.
that'll be a perfect hybrid after the IMFs to transition into, and then the pro ranks. So it'll give me a good couple of years to develop as a professional before stepping up into that top tier competition.
Like mixed martial arts is fascinating, right? Because it's like organic chess. There's so much like philosophy and figuring it out on the fly with
Yeah.
using, obviously your body and being able to get the shit kicked out of you or kicking the shit out of someone. And I find that whole philosophy on martial arts just mind blowing.
It's like an endless Rubik's cube,
Yeah.
like you can get one side sorted and you turn it around and the other side's all fucked up and you're like, oh man, I so thought I had it. Like it's the same thing. Like you can have like the best ground game in the world and then you start MMA and you don't know how to throw a punch or a kick, or vice versa. Those guys that are world class, world champion strikers, and then they can't break someone's guard or like anything like that there. So so it's that sort of thing there exactly.
How do you mentally prepare yourself for something that's so changing and evolving in front of you, rather than, obviously we go in with like a rugby or soccer, you've got your own formations, you pretty much know the parameter of how the game's going to pan out. MMA is completely different.
Yeah, and so you meaning in terms of when you go into a fight?
Yeah, how do you mentally prepare yourself for that?
So when you're fighting just a single person at an event, you can prepare yourself pretty well by knowing what their strengths are, what their say weaknesses are, and you can plan for that and train for that. Use all your best assets to your advantage and exploit theirs. So that's cool, and that's a lot easier. When you go into these tournament formats, you don't know who you're fighting until the day before when they do day before when they do the draw. So I sat in the one at the European Champs, and you see the seeded fighters from the last events will be at the top, and everybody else is placed around it. So in terms of the tournament format, you can't really plan for a specific opponent because you really could get anyone, and you don't even know who's all entered it until the last minute as well. So it's cool in that sense. You just have to be well-rounded enough in yourself that no matter who they put in front of you in that pool, you can handle it and you can still fight your own fight. So you go in there not being like set on one plan. If you go in set on one plan and expect something to happen, and it varies off that, then you're screwed. So you never go in being like, this will happen, then this will happen. Like besides all my, actual skills, like the only thing I actually like, this will happen in my head is whether we're touching gloves or not. From there, it just goes where it goes. Goes where you and your opponent like put it. But in terms of actually having a game plan, you have a game plan, but it can vary from that pretty fucking quickly, and you've just got to adapt on the fly,
God damn, like the versatility you have to have as an athlete in that arena must be crazy, like there's such high levels of adaptability. Like that like, for example, as a swimmer, played rugby and then Olympic weightlifting. All of those, I know exactly what's going to happen. I know my job. Exactly. I know what I need to do. Everything's fine.
Well, even in rugby, like playing rugby for, almost 20 years and that, you pretty much have your positional three that you always going to play. You're best suited for physically and the way you play the game and your vision. Like I was never going to be a back, that's for sure. And there's certain full positions that I was better at or worse at based on my size. And so like you just repeat that all the time. You're tackling, you're getting the ball, what not to do. The rules don't change based on who you're playing. Like it's one rule set across the board. In MMA, you're going from amateur, or you're going and you've got one rule set. You're doing, say, PFL has their own rule set to a certain degree, with just some variations of it, and then obviously the open pro stuff as well. So, or your shin pads or no shin pads in some of the amateurs. So there's a few variations in it, and like you really gotta stay open-minded with it and like be able to, like we said, adapt quickly because things will change, whether it's in the fight or in the rule set, or someone gets injured and there's a like replacement, or maybe you get injured and have to fight a sort of a different game plan as well. All this can change. Like in that fight at the European Champs, I got injured in my first fight in day one, was going to have to pull out for the second day, and then had a call with the coaches back home because I had no one with me. And they were like, look, you're going to have to fight it in the opposite stance. You're not going to be able to do this and this, do this and this instead. And, trying to adapt to that literally hours before the fight on that morning was, wouldn't say it was a mindfuck, but it was definitely testing and challenging. And I learned a lot from that, but I wish I didn't have to learn by losing. But it was a pretty tough position to be in, to be there alone and then to be fighting a different full fight that you're expecting. And yeah, is what it is. But yeah, that's what I mean about being open-minded and adapting on the go. And we're fighters, we're used to things being changed and not going our way. So being able to deal with that and not taking it as like, oh, if it's not perfect, I'm not going to do it. Because mate, it's going to be perfect never in this
Mm,
sport.
mm. Like the mental resilience you would have developed from that is insane, right? Like, for example, I'll use a New Zealand example, like Dan Carter. He'll go for a penalty. Say, for example, he's right footed. He'll practice it all with his right foot. Yeah, he'll do a bit with his left foot, but he'll practice it all with his right foot. Now break his right foot and he's got to take the last kick of the game with his left foot. That's not going to happen. He'll just sub him off and get someone else to kick the ball. You know what I mean? But this is, you're getting choked out. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to throw in the white towel? Like that,
Mm-hmm.
the mental resilience developed through fighters, obviously, like I said before, with boxing, but now bringing it over into all these different disciplinaries. Like, oh, it's insane. I got so much respect for that, man.
Yeah, man. And it's a thing too in training. I feel like the most mental resilience you get is from the trainings. There's a certain extra push that you get from the fight because nothing makes you, like, no matter how confident you are and how many times you've fought, like you'll hear it from the top guys in the world, you still get this like weird, uncomfortable, I don't know if it's nervous or whatever feeling it is, because you've gone out there to fight in front of everyone and you're both going out there to like finish each other. So there's just always going to be that weird feeling. So you grow from that in a certain way. But I feel like the most growth you do is those hard grinding training sessions where your training partners are pushing you to the point where they're trying to make you tap, or they're trying to set you up to get, to like learn to put your hands up better, or move out the way, all that sort of stuff. Like they're the ones testing you day in, day out. And I think that's the stuff that makes you grow so much stronger day in, day out.
And I think what's really hard to relate for a lot of people is, they relate that over to their everyday life. And if they get it wrong, right, they just don't pass a test, or they drop a couple monies here or there, or whatever, lose a deal. You get it wrong, you get knocked out.
That's it. And that's the part that gives you that uncomfortable feeling going in. And that's what I mean. At any level, like you're feeling that. And I think that's a good part of so obviously I haven't come from a certain background other than like rugby. So you could almost say wrestling in a sense, but it's still not wrestling. So the last 6 years, like the most comps I've done has been jiu-jitsu and wrestling. So, and number one would be definitely jiu-jitsu comps. So again, the worst thing that happens, you tap out for the most part. Unless something freakish happens, the worst thing that happens is you tap out. These fighters that come from striking backgrounds from the get-go, like that's so valuable. Like they come in and they know the worst thing that happens is I get knocked the fuck out. Like they know that and they've trained that and they've worked that for years. So that's why I love watching fighters that come from that kind of background. Like just, people like Brad Riddell, you know what I mean? Like the way he fought that last fight, like they both know that this is like, that was a game of chess and who like that was going to go one of either way. And it unfortunately went against Brad, but like that was the kind of game where they're both so aware of those inches and reading the whole thing, that if they were against someone that came from a wrestling grappling background only, like it would have been over so quickly for either like the opponent, you know what I mean? But these boys are so good. So watching that stuff, like I admire that so much.
It's one of the few things in life that beautifully integrates like physical and mental into this one crazy arena where it's just like you're watching two gladiators going at each other who are mentally trying to outsmart each other, but are also kicking seven bells of shit out of each other. And it's like, what is going on? Because you're trying to get into the fighter's head and try and understand their next move. And then also you're like, well, I kind of got to keep my hands up here, or I'm going to have to hold on here or put myself in this position. And like from a spectator point of view, like it's insane. Like it is insane. You take chess, right? You sat down, you're looking at a board, you're like, okay, I can kind of understand the cognitive, what they're going through. Now you put that into people that are trying to choke each other out and they're doing both. Fuck, man. Hats off.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely agree with you there. It's
Here's something I'm really interested in. What is the one thing or multiple things that you've learned from the sport of MMA that you relate to life outside of the ring?
Being coachable, and that's in a sense of whether it's your parents having a hard conversation with you, or a partner, or literally a coach. yeah, having a sport that I knew so well all my life, and then transitioning over to this, where it wasn't like I didn't just know it, or I couldn't immediately put my finger on the things I didn't know, or watch film and I know exactly like, oh, I did that wrong going into that ruck or whatever it is. Going into a new sport like this and like being a complete noob for it all. So having to be coachable in that sense, where you're literally baby to it, and you've got to soak it all in. You've got to ask the right questions. You've got to be adaptable, and learning that, I guess, when I was early 20s, so you're at an age where you start thinking you know all your shit, and then this puts you back on your ass, and you realize that you don't know anything.
Yeah,
So that's
humbling,
that's
right?
probably a big one there. That's probably a massive one there, is the being coachable and teachable aspect, because you can put that in any aspect of your life. Um, and also too, like, one other thing I'd say is also knowing, like, yes, it's a huge community in the world, and there's thousands of fighters and coaches and all that, and they're all different gyms and they fight against each other, but it is a community, and we definitely like all um can lift each other up no matter what level, no matter organization, all of that there. I definitely see that across the IMF board. Like, it's a bubble, yes, but we compete against each other, different countries, different languages, but we do all support each other and have each other's back. And then when one of us steps outside of the IMFs and goes professional, like, you can see the mass amounts of support from the IMF family. And I think that carries across into other organizations too, and across gyms, and you can see the respect between people, where
Mm.
it's due. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That
Mm.
coachable point is incredible. Like, I think everyone needs to sit and think about that for a while, like be coachable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I first heard it many years ago. I think it was playing rugby. I was like, lads, you got to be coachable. So what the fuck does
Hmm.
that even mean? Like, and
Yeah.
I think the best piece of advice when it comes to sport is those little one-liners that make you question it for years,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't just like, here's a blueprint,
Am
follow
I
this,
being
Michelle.
coachable? Yeah. Questioning yourself and in your
Yeah.
environment, be like, am I being coachable? Like, if it's someone new at a workplace, and or like if your dad or your mum or someone's talking to you, and you're like, am I being like a reflective thing, just bouncing shit back at them and like not soaking it in? Or am I being a sponge and being like, okay, and actually listening, taking it in, trying what they're saying, because they're probably saying it for a reason. They're above me for a reason, like they have even more experience or something in the matter. So there's a reason for what they're saying. So take it in, try it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Don't just shut it down at the start. Don't think you know better. Don't give them the facials that you don't realize you're giving them, like all that sort of stuff. That when you've been on the other side, and I've been a rugby coach, or I've coached the women's MMA classes, or been a manager at work, all these things, I see the flip side, and I'm like, oh, I was a little asshole.
Hmm. Yeah, self-reflection is the best tool you can give yourself for growth.
100%.
100%.
Yeah. Mm.
100%. So if I was going to attack the whole fighting spots, and I'm just going to tar them with all the brush, right, in every domain as a singular, and then also as the MMA. If you look at it from an outsider perspective, right, they think it's dangerous, it's aggressive, it's all this. What would you reply to that?
I would say driving your car is more dangerous, to be honest. Well, people do that drunk, they do it without seatbelts, they do it high, they do it underage, they do all these crazy things, and they do it without licenses. Like, I'd say that's more dangerous. So the dangerous part is like of course, it's a fight, but you're trained for it, and you've got mouth guards, you've got all the protection, you've got a referee in there. Um, so it's actually pretty controlled,
Mhm.
and the ref will stop it once it gets that point. There's rules like not hitting in the back of the head for a reason, all that sort of stuff. So that, for me, the dangerous part. I mean, it's like any sport. I can roll my ankle playing netball. That's dangerous. Rugby's probably more dangerous, running at each other at full sprint with no protection besides a mouth guard. Um, and you can get tackled from behind as well, like all this crazy stuff. So the dangerous part is pretty easy to brush aside and sweep under the rug. The what was the other part you said about it? Like, that it's
Oh, that was it.
brutal.
No,
Yeah,
that
no,
was
just
it.
that's it. Easy point to melt away there. Honestly, like, yeah, there's so many things as dangerous or more dangerous in the world with less. I don't know how to say, like, restrictions or guides around them to keep it within the safe framework that it can possibly be in.
I agree.
Um, yeah, absolutely.
I think everyone should be taught the art form of martial arts, right? And be taught basic self-defense and how to fight and all that. Like I can relate it to back home. There's fights fucking every 2 seconds, like ridiculous amounts, whether it's glass, knives, fists, whatever the fuck it is, whatever.
I know.
But it's usually
honestly, I agree.
it's
If there was
usually
an MMA gym in my gym, like in my little country town, if they had like a boxing, MMA or jiu-jitsu when I was a kid, like even we lived out of town, but I would have been frothing to get in there every day. Like me as a kid, like that would have to a T been me, but I didn't have that opportunity. So I played rugby, I did farm stuff, you know what I mean? But I remember at primary school, even I was like, even at kindy, I think I fought with a boy. I might have bit him, I don't even know. He was bullying or whatever. And then at primary school, I was only like 7 or 8, 9, in that age range there. And I had punched 2 boys in a couple of years, like in like one, both times in the head, like legit. One broke my finger, but I had to hide it from my parents, and one, his nose like bled all over the wooden floors. And I remember seeing it for months after. And they were actually guys that are my friends to this day. But at that point, like, you know, when boys pick on you when you're young, or you wouldn't know, but boys pick on you when you're young as a girl, it can wind you up a lot. And so for me, if I had a way like an actual way to learn it and to learn that sport instead of just being a psycho kid, like it would have, I think it would have done wonders for me.
you also learn how to control it too, right? Because you know you look in the bars or the pubs or whatever, or the nightclub, and the people that are fighting and scrapping and causing the most damage usually the ones that aren't fighters, and they're quite insecure of their own ability, right? So they start fights rather than knowing if shit really, really hit the fan and there was no other option, I'm going to be all right and I'm going to protect the people next to me because I know how to look after people. It's usually the lads or ladies that are super insecure, like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take my shell out, so I'm just going to like hit her with a side angle with a bottle. It's like, no, because that poses all new issues, right? And I think it should be taught.
People get fucking killed from shit like that too, and like we've seen that in evidence here in NZ with, you know, Fovaki, like, so like that's the stuff that just absolutely is, oh, it's disgusting, man. It's so disgusting. That I'd just seen a video that Tiago put up on his thing the other day. It was an autistic kid at school getting bullied, and this guy walks up behind and smacks him in the side of the head, and there's a kid recording it. And it's just mind-boggling that like someone either adapts that behavior, they learned it from somewhere, or they've seen it somewhere and done it. They haven't just plucked it out of thin air that I'm going to do this thing to this kid. So that stuff there, and then when they grow up into adults and they're still doing that shit as well. If I ever saw that in person, like someone about to do that or doing that, I honestly don't know what I would do, but I would probably put them to sleep in a choke or something like that there. It's just,
It's the thing is, like, getting put to sleep in a choke is safer for you than getting smacked and knocked out.
Of course, you're not rattling the brain, not snapping spinal cords. They might lose a few brain cells, and if you are really angry at them, maybe you'll hold it for a little bit too long. But that's it.
Moral of the story: don't piss Michelle off.
Hard to piss off, mate. Unless it's road rage, hard to piss off.
Oh, fuck yeah! No, don't get me started. Like, you lot over here can't drive. I'm sorry.
Well, shocking. Now I'm glad there's a screen between us, actually, because again,
I'm not taking my own advice. No, there's so many people in 4x4s clipping curbs. It pisses me off. I'm like, learn how to drive it if you're going to buy a big car.
Yeah, man. And that's a crazy thing. When I went to the States, it's like people are hooning on these motorways. But they're so confident. They're going super fast. They're changing lanes. They're front and center. Like, it was very fast paced, high paced. But when I went to Ireland, like start, stop. Oh, and everyone's dithering and like all that sort of stuff. Like more like New Zealand style. We've got a lot of small country roads and that. So people are a bit more reserved with their driving, and the rules are a lot stricter in terms of speed and that there. But in the States, they just go like a cat the whole time.
Yeah, back home you learn how to move a vehicle because the roads are so fucking small and there's like 1,000,001 different cars. So it's like, well, you either take that car out or you learn how to drive the car that you're in. Like here is difficult because, you know, obviously if you live on a farm, it doesn't matter. Like you're driving this massive thing. And then if you drive into the city, Like you're used to just driving it however you want to drive it, and that's when you clip
Yeah.
everything, and that's usually when
Yeah.
you piss off a northerner like me, who usually starts giving people the V's. But that's a different tangent.
You just stick to your flamingo scooters down there, and you'll be all right.
What, the limes?
Yeah, the lime scooter.
Still never been on a lime, but apparently it can get up to like 40 k's.
Yeah, you stick to that, and you'll be all right.
All right, I'll do little jumps on it. I still want to go on one pissed. I know it probably isn't the best of like publicizing that.
People actually like mess themselves up on them. They like
Yeah,
they
legit.
mess their face up. They bail hard. I went on once and I did not like it. It's wasn't a fan.
I don't even think I've ever been on an electric scooter. Like, I'm old school. If you're gonna get on a scooter, use your fucking foot and
You're
push
pushing
it.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But hey, that's something completely different. I'm not really into like driving fast. Not really into it.
We grew up with Dad. He made us a go-kart on the farm. And we had this gravel tanker track that had like a kind of a downhill slope to it in a loop. So we'd hone this thing down the tanker track on the loose gravel top, and like it drifted around the whole corner and come back. And this is like a little go-kart that he built himself with like all these parts he made himself. So and he had a bigger one called Godzilla that spat fire out the exhaust. That I never touched that one, but so we grew up pretty outback farmery. Learned to drive, and that's
like it's such a contrast, you know what I mean? Like it's blown my mind coming over here and be like, what, you grow up like what? Like I kind of look at it rednecks. Like fucking hillbillies over here, you know what I mean?
Yes. There's it when I was in the States, and like people, what they consider a redneck, we like literally all New Zealand people that grew up on a farm is like that, and which is like probably 2/3 of the whole country in terms of like area, not population, but like area at least. And we all do that, like rough as guts.
That's crazy. Nah, like you're hard fetched to find like a square acre of land that isn't concrete. Like there's so many people, so much like gentrification back home. Like I'm fucking from a huge city, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not a city person at all, not at all. Like I can go there for a day and like explore a few things, see a couple of cool bits and pieces, and it just, I don't know what it makes me get like cabin fever or something. Like I need either ocean, beach, sunshine, farmland. Like that's what I need, and it makes me very at peace, makes me very calm, makes me very clear-headed, and
for sure.
And I get and that would probably just attest to my whole growing up was on a farm into my early teens, and even then I'm in a small farm town with like 12,000 people, so
so it's like 12 people. There's no one there. It's
probably
our cousins.
There's no there's Huntley. There's no traffic lights, you know what I mean? It's a straight roundabout or two and carry on through.
I think everyone should learn to be at peace in the countryside though, with like no one around and like butt fuck nowhere. I think it's just so good for your mental state, spiritual state, physical state, like you name it. I think everyone needs to be picked out of like a big city and just placed in the middle of nowhere and just be like, right, be alone with your thoughts for a bit. And
I think people have their own ways of doing that, because there's some people that say like, a perfect world we could do that and put people there and let them just settle for a little bit. But I think everyone has their own ways of reaching that little point of, I don't want to sound like a hippie and say zen, but we'll use that word, of clear-headedness sort of, and some of them go to say like a sauna by themselves, and for me a quiet sauna by myself, I feel like that because it just clears my head. If I'm not reading and I'm not listening to anything, it's just quiet and I'm literally just with me, and all I'm thinking about is how I guess I feel or what I'm thinking. Like that's all I can think about, because it's a bit uncomfortable. And same thing too, people go to that stuff, or they go to meditation, or little things like that in the city where they can do, or they have an apartment by themselves and they turn everything off and they can just be alone with themselves. Like me in this quarantine right now, like actually kind of feels like I can see the ocean from here, which is a win. Like I feel like I got an amazing room, windows open, there's the ocean right there, I can see boats going in and out, the sun's shining, and I've got all this space and time just to be alone, a bit peace of myself. And I know as soon as I hit the road and I get on the way home next week and I go through the countryside and get to our quiet little place there, I'm just going to be like shoulders dropped down and so relaxed and at peace.
Do you like saunas then?
I do. I don't like spas. I like sauna, like whether it's infrared or steam or whatever or dry. Like I'm not bothered, but I do like saunas. I like pushing out toxins and like flushing the system a bit like that. I'll go in with water. I don't like going in a sauna when I can't have water. But pretty much every time I do use one, which is a couple of times a week, whether it's a hot bath or sauna, it's for heat acclimation with the dietitian. So you can just get in your body used to being in that heat, so you can last a bit longer and sweat a bit more. So have been in there with a big bottle of water is very satisfying. And I honestly don't like being in them with other people for the most part. I like being in there alone with no sounds, nothing on, just quiet. Because it is quiet, it's a solid box with a door on it. You can't hear all this outside shit.
I love a sauna because I fucking hate it.
Yeah. It's a good push. It's a good push physically and mentally. More so mentally,
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Like I blend in with a white piece of paper, you know what I mean? Like my headphones right now are like kind of camouflaged, and if you can't see them, they are white as hell. Like, so
I didn't know you had me on. I thought they were just white ears.
Fuck you. Yeah, nah, like legit, like I'm struggle in the heat, you know what I mean? I can't breathe. Like if it gets to, I mean, we were in the middle of winter the other week when we were in the second little bit of lockdown, right? I was training outside, just lifting and shifting a barbell and whatever. I was like, fucking hell, it's hot. I was like, I'm gonna have to go in the shade. Like I'm burning up here, like legit burning. And I was like, it must be like 25, 30 degrees. I checked the 14.
You're shitting me.
What the fuck is this? It's 14 degrees. I'm burning. Like I need to be in like minus.
You've got that skin complexion there that needs some SPF 50 sun hat with a little mullet neck cover. Like, oh yeah.
A mullet. I'm not a Kiwi yet.
I think the reflection of the screen is giving you sunburn now.
Oh motherfucker. It's true though. I can't do it. Like I got off the plane in Dubai. I've been there twice. The second time was to come to here, and I got off the plane at midnight, and it was the hottest temperature I'd ever felt in my life, and it was like 35, 38 degrees.
Yeah. I went through a couple times. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's
can't do it, man.
over there.
I can't do this country, never mind there.
Also here, we've got no ozone layer. So you go outside and you are beetroot, like you are red after 15 minutes if you're out there at the beach. Like when I was in Florida, I laid on the beach probably like an hour or so. But I don't think I really had any sunblock on, maybe just a little lather of 15, but I didn't even get sunburnt, just a little bit of color, a little bit of tan lines. If I had done that in New Zealand, I would have been absolutely wrecked. Like, our sun down here is brutal. So for someone like as pasty as you, oh yeah.
It's crazy, man. Good. Like I legit can walk outside. I'll be outside in like 20 seconds and I can feel myself crisping.
Yeah.
I'm going south. I'm going Scott Base. Fuck it. I'm gonna go with my people. And my people is the snow.
Scott Island down there.
Yeah, that's it.
You'll still get burnt, tell you.
Well, no, you do actually have to wear sunscreen in the Arctic because it reflects off the snow.
That's it.
Fun fact.
That's it.
Fuck, I can't go anywhere, me. I need to go somewhere like eternal darkness.
Oh, now you just sound sad.
Yeah, that'd actually be really fucked. Although if I see the Northern Lights all the time, I'd be okay with it.
Yes, that's true. That is true. When I was in Ireland, I did ask a couple of people there, like, am I going to see the Northern Lights because I'm up far north? And they were like, nah, not here.
Nah.
Damn it.
You see them a bit in Scotland, like the Highlands of Scotland. Like back home in Manchester, you won't see the Northern Lights, but in summer, I've had it where it's been 11 p.m. and it's still been light.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Like, I had a big contrast going from the States to Ireland for that 10 days. Like when I got there, sun wasn't actually out until 8:30, but out is a stretch of the imagination there. When I say out, the sun was not out. It was cloud cover with probably a sun behind it somewhere. And then it was gone at 4:30. So
Yeah.
by the time I was up and doing stuff and then get home, it was basically getting dark, and it was hard to be like, well, let's crack on and get some more stuff done. It was cozy weather. So being out here home and the sun's up, 6:30, we've got a bit of light, the clouds are cleared, and it's still a bit of brightness out at like 7:38. That makes me very happy. Very happy girl.
Oh, the weather in this country is insane, man.
Mm.
Like I arrived in Auckland, and I think the first 3 weeks I didn't see a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
I legit thought the country was taking a piss out of me and be like, this is what weather's supposed to be like. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
You'll get your fair share. You would have had your fair share of shit weather here, though.
Well, like winter was like what, 4 degrees? And everyone was like, oh, it's freezing. I was like,
Yeah,
it's not
that's
freezing.
cold for here.
I was like, technically, it's not freezing, and it's also not
Yeah.
cold either. I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to see minus. I need to be fucking freezing to my balls.
Yeah, no, we don't do that is pretty cold for us. For hitting that low is we're not moving too well. We're not moving too well.
There's definitely a difference between the islands too. Like the
Yeah.
North Island, you feel like you're in the Southeast Pacific, right? And then like the
Yeah,
South Island, you feel
especially
like you're in Europe.
well, that's the crazy thing. Like you can go to the South Island and be down in glaciers and snowy mountains and that there. You go up to the far north and all do all this in like, within 2 days of each other. And you go to the far north and it's the Bay of Islands for a reason. It's stunning. It's clear skies, clear waters. It's like another country up there.
Mm. Yeah, I think pretty much 99% of everything about this country is fucking phenomenal. And I'd just be like, if anyone could just come visit, even if it's like you're gonna come here 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then you're gonna piss off and you're never gonna come back. I was like, you won't regret it.
100%. Yeah, a lot of people ask me overseas like, what's my favorite place I've been to, and or country, and without being biased, I had to be honest and be like, it actually is New Zealand because of the contrast and variety, the ease of accessibility of everything, whether it's green countryside or stunning beaches or black sand beaches, good surf, good water sports, snow, ice, adventure. It has everything. It's just really far away. So it's actually, it's hard to pass that up as the best place because it ticks all the boxes. I mean, in the States, yeah, they've got some really stunning things, but if you want to say quite diverse, you probably got to drive or fly somewhere quite far.
Yeah.
So it's not very accessible. In Ireland, yes, it's stunning and beautiful and green, but it's reasonably average weather.
You can say shit, it's fine.
Well, I wasn't there in summer, so I don't know.
It's shit weather.
There you go. So there's that. You can access the whole country in a day. Like I did a road trip. I went from Belfast to down to Cork in a couple of days with each other, driving around, seeing everything. So beautiful and accessible. But again, the weather. So to tick every box and have that whole adventure side to it, New Zealand really does do that.
Problem is you can't drive.
Aussie would be up there, except it's got a lot of deadly shit. Spider snakes, crocs, kangaroos, like it's pretty rough in that side. But yeah, again, really diverse, gorgeous place. But I think just too much chaos with all the cities and crazy animals. So yeah,
it's
again,
crazy.
New Zealand right up there.
Everything in Australia like says that it shouldn't be a country. You know what I mean? Everything's trying to kill you. It's too fucking hot. It catches fire every time. Most of the place is arid. There's so much things around it in the ocean that wants to kill you. It's just this like piece of rock just in the middle of nowhere. You're like, nah, this shouldn't be a country. It shouldn't work. And somehow it's working.
It just produces some hard case absolute GCs. So I'm like, okay, it's got some pretty epic people in it. So we'll let it stay.
We'll let it stay. I mean, I'd love to go. Like, I've never been.
Oh yeah, if you go to like you can go for a little road trip inland and see these crazy big miner holes all through the countryside desert, like countryside desert, and you go to these towns that I say town with air quotes. You go down, we went to a place called Kupapedi, and they literally live underground because it's so hot. So they live in like clay house things under the ground. It was the creepiest thing, but like they were so nice. It just looked scary as a kid. And so we stayed in a hotel that was literally, you walked down the stairs and you're underneath the clay in like clay bunks and things. Or I say clay, I don't know what really was, some sort of dirt, because it's too hot above ground. They can't live above there. It's way too hot. We went 10 hours inland from Adelaide. And what they do there is they mine for opal. That's where the opal is. So that's their way that they can, like, you know, have finances and stuff going on. So it's pretty cool going down to the opal mines and seeing like that's how things can exist out in here. So it's pretty cool in that sense.
This is one of the reasons why I think travel is the best thing for people, right? You can just experience so much variety that is on this planet Earth, and how people can live, and communities and culture, and that's
you can find someone
crazy.
in every country. You can find someone in every country that, you know, drinks beer too, and then you can crack on.
Yeah.
Especially all of our Commonwealth countries, you know, Scotland, Ireland, England, NZ, Aussie, like South Africa, we're all pretty heavy beer drinkers. So you can always find someone that, like, you know, you can crack on with as well, and make an experience of it.
For sure, and just sharing stories over a brew, like that's what life's all about. It's the best.
Good, yeah, absolutely, couldn't agree more.
I went to a place called Entebbe, which is outside of I think it's outside of Pretoria in South Africa, and literally was sharing a beer with one of the keepers there, and some of the stories that come out with, man, you're just like, what the fuck?
Well, South African stories are a whole nother thing. Like that's another thing. We had good family friends that worked on the farm with us back when I was a kid, and some of his stories from when he was in South Africa. I think he was in South Africa. Yeah, some of his stories were just nuts. Like, you can't believe it's true. And we went there for the Commonwealth Champs for wrestling, and that we literally had to have the doors locked. We couldn't drive certain places at past a certain time. You literally do drive, and it would be very, very unusual to see a house that didn't have shards of glass or barbed wire on the top of their fence line.
Yeah,
and that's just mad.
Yeah,
you know,
it sounds like Manchester.
Fuck. Okay, making notes of places not to visit.
Yeah. Behave. It's the greatest city on earth. It's a shithole, but it's my shithole.
Absolutely selling it to me.
Oh, come on, man! Manchester's diverse in the sense of there's a lot of fucking shit areas, but it's also like there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of like technological advances that came out of that city. Like, it's cool. It's a cool place.
Yeah.
If you like your history,
you got that soccer team as well that people are pretty fond of.
Oh, which one? There's two.
Oh, Man U?
Yeah, Man U, and then there's Man City.
Oh, see, well, I wouldn't know that. Not a soccer fan.
I'm more of a rugby guy, but, you know, being English, football is kind of a religion. It's an excuse to go to the pub and drink 15 pints, so it's fine. Well,
I went to when I was in Ireland. I think that the day after I landed in there, you know, I was still pretty jet lagged and stuff, but it was my birthday, and I was like, you know, for the most part alone and all that. So I'll just get a taxi down. I was in this right on the edge outside of Dublin there, and I went down to the local pub and had a Guinness. And
legend.
Had a Guinness. Yeah, my first Guinness in Ireland on my birthday. A little bit of Chinese takeaway that they sussed out for me there too. And the only people in the pub with me, because it was like a Wednesday or whatever, was all tradies. So again, felt like New Zealand. All tradies in there for their couple of pints after work, and all just watching the footy on the TV, all the soccer games. And I was like, yeah, this I would expect this.
That's every pub everywhere in the UK.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like New Zealand, though. If you're going midweek, there's just people that have finished work or whatever, they're in there and they work the fluoros or the boots and that there, and having a beer and having a couple of beers before they go home. That's it. Probably get takeaways on the way home as well. That's my hometown.
The only difference is you come out of that pub, you look around, you can see like these beautiful lush mountains and all that crazy shit. Back home, it's like, I can see another pub.
Well, no, we're at my town. You walk. Well, there are mountains and stuff. I guess on one side of it, there's the Carmo Ranges, but I'm in a country town that's like in the valley. It's in the valley, Lord.
The valley, man.
Literally on. It's in the valley, pretty much. On one side of it, you got the back of the Carmo. So over the other side of that, 45 minutes away, is Mount Maunganui and Tauranga, and then there's mountains in the distance on the other side, which is just like little country mountains. So, you know, we're only about an hour outside of Hamilton, so it's a big flat like plains area in our little wee town. And yeah, you walk out of one pub, you'll see either your car or takeaways or another pub, and then you'll drive 2 minutes home. That's it.
So sounds like a good life.
Is it? Oh, I've gotten like, there's been times where I've come off injury or whatever, and I've been a bit of like a bit of a mental downer kind of thing, like coming off injuries after working so hard for something, and feeling like you achieve nothing from it is what you feel like. And I've just been like recovering from that and working in the small town at the family business, and that was it. That was just it. Work, big long day, really like satisfied with the work and stuff and loving the job, and then getting a couple of beers on the way home, getting some takeaways or whatever, getting home, chilling out, watching something, go to bed. And like, that was just my routine day after day after day. And yeah, for me, being someone that is so goal driven and aims so high, and expect so much of myself, to be in that state for such a long time, like dragged out past probably where my injury was better, but still just feeling like that, and knowing that I had to travel an hour to get to any sort of the kind of training I wanted to do, to MMA training. I had to drive an hour there or 2 hours to Auckland. So for me, it was so demotivating to think about that, and so I just got stuck in this like little spiral of that, and that's why me being in that comfortable setting can be detrimental for me mentally. It's it's like I have to really I have to work hard to have a balance, because I can easily get sucked into that and think this is comfortable, making good money, it's stable, I'm seeing family, I'm in my little small bubble town, like cool. But it's like, that's not the life for me,
Legit, I before this call, I caught up with a good mate of mine, and we spoke about comfort in depth. And he
Yeah.
came to me, I was like, Alex, I came to a realization that everything in my life has evolved around me being comfortable. And we just kind of dove into it, right? And I think
Wow.
modern society tells you that you're supposed to be comfortable. Like everything should be easy, and that's not the case, because we usually get flooded with dopamine, which is fantastic. We feel mint for 5 minutes. And the next thing you know, like a smack addict, we want more of it, and we want more of it and more of it and more of it. And then you just seek more comfort, right? And you end up in this cave where you're just like, oh, I don't really want to leave right now. And I'm like, fuck, man, go do something.
But I think there's a lot of like interesting points around that too. I guess one of them being like some of us, you could say us too, personally, we're sitting here on our like computers talking to each other and that, and we've got a place and roof of our head and like opportunity to travel if we want to. There's people that grow up really rough, and they're not comfortable, and they fight to be, I guess, something, or to escape with the in, and those people there fight their whole life and are so comfortable with that uncomfortable because they grew up with it, right? I grew up with, okay, I was a psycho kid and like got in more trouble than I needed to, made my parents like hell at times, but I had a roof on my head, I had opportunity to play sport, and they could help drive me there. Like I had all these things like that were really like a privilege to have. So it's like kids that grow up that can go one or two ways. They can go in that comfortable way and stay in their small town bubble, find a partner, have kids, and there's nothing wrong with this, let me add also. But it's just, that's a very comfortable bubble perhaps, and they can work and they have that good money coming in. They're not taking risks, and that's cool. And I've had talks with fellow athletes before where we've been injured or started just doing that lifestyle for a small fraction of our life, maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months, maybe a year. And we're like, wow, this is so easy. We've literally told each other, this is so easy. I woke up, I maybe went to the gym, like just a normal weights gym with no like performance goal, just either lose weight, stay this weight, or gain some muscle, or just do it for the excitement. And then I went to work, worked all day, worked a nice long day, made some good money, had a couple of beers on the way home because I don't have to be a certain weight, I don't have to look a certain way, and I don't have to perform in a sport. And then I ate whatever I wanted for dinner, whether it was a pie, whether it was a pizza, where I cooked some salmon, like it didn't matter. It went to sleep, like carried on my day. And like, we've done this before, and like had a snippet of that lifestyle, told each other like, fuck, that was so comfortable and so easy. And it's so tempting to be like, oh, that could be us. But because we're so goal driven and we thrive the uncomfortable of making the weight, like doing the weight cut or pushing yourself so hard in training sessions that you like mentally like, oh my God, why are you doing this? But you just keep going because you know why you're doing it. Like you deep down know, but your head plays games with you. So we're like, athletes can be some of these people that thrive off that uncomfortable, off that risk taking, and taking those chances, and putting yourself in that uncomfortable position. Like And MMA is one of those sports where you are in that position every single day that you're training, every single day. Even if you're doing a recovery, it's uncomfortable, whether it's an ice bath or a sauna or a massage, like even that shit is not comfortable. So we're putting ourselves through that, making like F all money off it for the most of your life, and doing it because you thrive off it. We're absolute psychos.
How was your mental state though when you weren't doing that and when you were doing the easy and the comfortable path?
Well, at the start, it was very satisfying because it was like, okay, I'm actually making every single week, I'm making good money. This is, oh my God, amazing. I'm saving for stuff. I'm paying this off. I'm buying these cool things. I can have whatever I want, whenever I want. Like that was a huge, like, oh, this is nice. So that was cool.
Short term. The short term though.
Yeah, well, it for as long as I'm working, right? Like I had that comfort there of that income. Whereas when you're doing sport and training, you're spending it all on training and travel and your trips that you have to take for your sport. So like those will cost like tens of thousands of dollars a year. So, and you're also cutting into your work time with your training because you know you need to if you're going to compete at that top level. So, so that was a good part. But yeah, for me, I guess being an athlete that does a weight division sport, you get very used to your body going in and out of like air quote prime condition. People could look at you like they could look at me now and be like, oh, she's in shape. But for me, I know I'm maybe 10 kilos maximum away from where I'll be fighting it in 6 weeks. And like for most people, that would be crazy. But like I just know that. So when I was doing just that comfortable little lifestyle there, it was like I started to get real like about my body because I'm thinking, well, fuck, I'm doing hard training every day. I'm working on my feet every day, but also eating just whatever I want kind of thing. Having beers and stuff. Like, so I'm not in great condition. And that's what I've always been in my life as like an athlete. So to be, I guess, a bit out of shape was a bit like of a yuck feeling. And then you start to get a bit, depressed too, just without those big push and those big challenges and big goals as well. It would be fine, I think, if I was retired from sport and I was doing that work because I love that job so much. If I was retired from sport and I was doing it and I knew, oh, well, this is going towards a house or this big overseas trip or partner or kids or whatever, like, okay, I would not be down at all. But when you're just doing it in between your real thing that you want to do as a young person, that's when it becomes a bit depressing and you know you have to sort your shit out and get out of it.
That's really interesting. Because I don't come from that, right? Like it was just me and my mum growing up, and I kind of saw her in a bit of a shy, abusive relationship, and that kind of, transpired into some things. And I have been homeless twice, so I have had nothing to fall back on. And
wow.
it's interesting speaking to people because whatever situation you're in, like everything's subjective, right? We've all got stories, but it's mentally being able to put yourself in a place of like, okay, my back is against the wall. There is no option to go backwards. I have to go forwards, right? And you seem like a very goal-driven person. Like otherwise you wouldn't be getting in an arena and getting the shit kicked out of you and kicking the shit out of someone. Like, you know what I mean? Like that just wouldn't happen. Legitimately, fighters have, along the road of life, the fighters have been one of the most goal-driven people and also open-minded people I've ever had the pleasure of having a conversation with, which has been really, really cool. But it's also just been like, okay, well, I can't do anything else. Whether I'm comfortable or not, I can't do anything else. This is just something that makes me breathe. You know what I mean? And if I numb myself out by drinking, food, partying, drugging, fucking gambling, whatever it is, if I numb myself out to do a quote unquote 9 to 5 or something that I don't want to do, is that really living? For the sake of what? Comfort? What is comfort? Like nothing is guaranteed, right? Like we could snap our fingers and I could have a heart attack in the next 5 minutes, obviously, God forsaken, but like nothing is guaranteed. And to me personally, we can only speak for ourselves. So I'm going to speak for myself, like grinding towards something or grinding in a way that I want to do it is living. Whether you're living shit or whether you're living in a fucking mansion, it doesn't matter. That's truly living, right? I cannot do this like clock in, clock out. I'm going to give you my most precious commodity of my time right? And you're going to give me some fucking paper. I'm like,
Mm.
sorry, man, like my time's worth way more than that shit.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I think, I know what you mean, and I agree with that, because I've been a member of the grind since I started like playing sport as just a wee kid. So like I absolutely get that, and I know there's a time and place for everyone to do the clock in clock out, where they're say they're grinding, say at university, and they need a bit of like a clock in clock out to get through. So I know there's a time and place for it, but there becomes also a time and place where you need to be like, I'm going to follow this dream, I'm going to do this thing. And whether you're like me and you have a backup, like I'm blessed to have it, but I work my ass off for it as well with the family business. So I've got myself in a position where I can help when I need to. But there's people, like yourself, you were saying you didn't have a backup. You just had to do you and focus on you and make your shit happen. And like, all props to you for it as well. Like, that there's nowhere back you can go. So you have to just have to make moves forward, whatever way that may be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure, man. I'm not saying like throw away every like clock in, clock out job, and I've done a fair share of them. You know what I mean? Like
For
I
sure.
used to clean carpets and pick up litter and all that type of bullshit. And there was a time where I'd work 4 jobs, 18-hour days, and you do what you need to do. And what I'm saying is the reliance and the kind of settling on that, and that's the only thing that I do.
Yeah.
And then the rest of your time that you're alive, you spend numbing yourself so then you can just go and do that. Is fuck, that's a very vicious cycle. That's when you blink and then you're 50 years old, right?
Absolutely. I've seen people, like, because I'm from a small town,
Yeah,
I've seen people that never leave it, and they are the same people at the pub on a Friday night, having and they're the people that live for the weekend just to get fucked up, and then whether it's on drugs or alcohol, and they get all gambling, and they get wrecked Friday night, wrecked Saturday, recover all Sunday, and then they do work all again, and they're all excited for the weekend. And I get, when you're young, that can be like a fun thing to do. Like I never did that full thing, because I was always sort of involved in sport one way or the other. I've seen glimpses of it, or done glimpses of it for sure, but I've seen people that live that every week. They just want it to be weekend. They get there and then they work their 9 to 5 every day. They don't have other goals themselves, and they often are the people too that I see like talk, even getting scraps and shit like that there, but they ain't no fighter. They're just like you said earlier, self-conscious about their own life or their own self, and they just want that bit of like sort of whatever that is that they need to do. And all these, they're the ones that talk shit about other people, or about other people that are doing something for themselves. I see that too as well from a small town where everyone knows everyone's business. You can't hide it. And so, yeah, there's a lot of that goes around as well. And that's the stuff too that, like, it's a bit like, I'm glad to be on the outside, but also scary to see like some people that just never leave that cycle. And you can see like it's like killing them.
Yeah, like the world is a big place, right? And life is long. Like you've got time to live so many fucking lives. Like legit, you could live 100 different lives. You could just try something, fall flat on your face, roll over, sit up, get up, go again. You know what I mean? And you could repeat that 100 different times in 100 different avenues. And so what? You can get to the end, right? Sat on your deathbed, someone can be like, "So what did you learn?" I was like, "Well, I tried some things, you know." So what? Or you could be like, well, I did the same thing because it was comfortable. And if that's seriously what you want to do and that's how you want to live your life, go for it. Like, I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. I think
But when you're doing it and you know that you're not happy with yourself, that's the one that gets me. Yeah, and they don't do something about it. They just talk shit about other people, or they get depressed on themselves. And I know personally, I know that's a hard rut to get out of when you're down, and you're numbing the pain with whatever, and you're just like carrying on in, day out. Like, I know that's hard to get out of, and it's really only you that can get you out of that. Like, other people can try, but like at the end of the day, you've got to want to badly enough to actually change it. So yeah, fuck.
Like, pain's a given, right? Things are going to hurt you in life. Suffering is optional. That's on you. Whether you keep yourself down there or not, right? Just take the fucking handcuffs off. Let go of the fucking weight. Like, you can do it. Yeah, it might take you a while and it might take you a long time, and that's fine. Like, process your shit.
Yeah.
But take some responsibility for your own actions, right? And do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Right. I got 3 questions and then I'll
Go
let you
ahead.
get on to your super busy day in MIQ.
I've got some training to do, man. Got an assault bike over there that's giving me a couple of winks.
Holy shit. You got an assault bike in your room?
Yeah, didn't fuck around, mate. I got one in on the second day. Just paid this company to bring it in and have it plonked there so that there's no escaping.
No, I can't look at them anymore. They give me PTSD.
I sat in it for an hour. I sat in it for an hour yesterday watching a Joe Rogan podcast. Just like I never watched the videos, I always listen to them, but might as well watch it. So sat there and 30 turned into 45 and turned into 60. And I was like, well, won't be doing that again.
It sucks, right?
Oh yeah. What's your questions?
Me and a mate back in April, we did a charity event, right, on an assault bike. We did 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off rotation for 48 hours.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Mate, it was fucked up. Like,
but good on you, charity. It's for a good cause.
Yeah, it was for New Zealand Mental Health Trust, which was really cool, and they've supported us through a lot of things. And obviously, it's a good charity. But fuck, I don't want to see one of those things ever again.
I did not show you then.
No, don't send it. Oh, bastard. Absolute bastard. Right, 3 questions. Otherwise,
I'm building mental toughness in you.
Oh, piss off. Mental toughness. The first one is, what's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
Oh, okay, great. These aren't quick fires. That's right.
No,
greatest piece of life advice I've ever been given. The few things poking up in my head.
Say them all.
I feel like one would be definitely that telling yourself you can do something and just doing it. We can get so stuck, like convincing ourselves, oh, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I can't, maybe this and that. But if you just like lace your boots up, get on the bike and do it, or whatever the case situation may be, or whether it's a job thing or whatever it is, like just doing it before you like get too caught up in yourself and you find yourself looking back thinking, fuck, I just did that. So yeah, that would be one. Telling yourself you can do something and then just doing it. That would be a biggie there. And something that I kind of live by, I don't know how to really put it in quote form, but just not getting consumed by things out of your control, 100%. Because when you live a life like you and me have, where we've traveled around, met millions of different types of people and all that stuff, and circumstances that you just cannot control, or you have very little control over. If you get caught up in that, like, you can go down so quickly, you can just not achieve things for days on end because you're so overwhelmed by it, but you can't control it. So just do the couple of things you can control and start working your way back with that. So that would definitely be one there.
That's fucking awesome advice. Number 2, what's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
Far out. All right. The worst piece of life advice I've ever received. Oh, if it's that bad, I've probably tuned it out of my brain. But oh, that's funny. The worst piece of advice. Probably you should drink all of that. Probably, Michelle, you should drink all that. And I don't make that challenges. Usually, I used to drink my own self under the table every time when I was younger. Yeah, that'd be it. Michelle, you should race him with a drink. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Holy shit. That's class.
Well, that's me. I'm like, yeah, I got scar tissue. That I learned the hard way who not to challenge and not to challenge myself on those things. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely some stories we could share with that.
No, that's for the explicit podcast.
Oh, look, this is my fucking podcast. Like, it's usually like, oh, can you swear? Can you not swear? I'm like, listen, man, I'm not going to be able to not swear.
I didn't even ask. Yeah, I heard your accent, and I knew I could just say "fuck this" all over the place.
100%. Like, I'm like, if you don't like it, that's absolutely fine. Like, there's other people that you can talk to that you don't need subtitles to understand. So, and that's talking about your accent, not mine. I'm fucking with you. Last one, 3 words you tell your younger self.
3 words.
Yeah.
Not even phrases. Okay, well, that makes it trickier. 3 words I'd tell my younger self.
You can make a sentence out of it, or
oh, good. That makes sense. Because I was like, 3 words. Okay, 3 sentences I'd tell my younger self. Michelle, think before you speak and act. 100%. I did so much dumb shit without thinking first. Got me in a lot of trouble. It would be, you can't drink as much as you think, and it would have saved me so
There's a theme.
much.
Yeah, there's a theme.
Oh, it would have saved me so much drama, and go and find an MMA gym, no matter how hard it is to get there. I would have told younger me that. Absolutely, that for me would have been an amazing use of my the way my mind worked from a young age. That would have been a really good use. So any like kids today, that's the kind of thing that I'd be getting them into if they're like hyperactive like me as a kid and that there.
You can't drink as much as you think. That's gonna fuck me up all day.
Me at 6 years old with my like Fanta going, what?
Yeah. What's this all about?
I'll be like, it'll all make sense one day, Shell.
Still doesn't make sense. Mate, I really appreciate your time. I'll let you have a date with that assault bike, you sadistic motherfucker. Enjoy yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm a nut.
Well, you step into a ring for a fight we call it entertainment. Well,
yeah.
I mean, this poses a question. Who's crazier? People that step into the ring to have a fight, or people that find it entertaining?
People that step in, 100%. The people that find it entertaining find the movies entertaining and find this entertaining the same way. Like, they've got nothing to lose except for maybe some bucks that they put on a gamble.
Come on, I don't go gambling on this shit. Watch it for the entertainment and the art. You know, don't.
I was just saying that they've got nothing to lose except for that. If anything. Yeah. When you're going in, you're fighting, you've got everything to lose, everything to gain. You know what I mean? So yeah, for sure, the people going in there, absolutely.
Well, I value your opinion because I've never stepped in there. I did a little bit of kickboxing as a kid, and then a lot of scrapping as a kid.
Well, I think we could probably get you into a gym down there. I know some people down there that could set you up.
Oh, here we go. I've talked myself into a fucking corner here.
You have. This was my angle the whole time. I was waiting to put it in there, put the plug in.
Bastard. Absolute bastard. All right. Well, yeah, I'll set you up on it. I'll have a little roll around on a mat.
Good shit.
Easy.
Good.
Like, I'm always up for any sort of sport or physical activity or anything I can learn and get my ass kicked. I'm fucking there. So,
well, hey, you want to learn something and get your ass kicked at the same time? Jiu-jitsu is the game for you.
BJJ or?
Yeah.
Okay.
BJJ. Jiu-jitsu. Yeah. That's the one for you.
Okay.
100%.
I'll do it.
It's a perfect balance of, I'm learning something. Oh, I'm also like about to tap out or die. I don't know what's happening. Like when you get kicked or punched, you get kicked or punched. When you get like these crazy submissions happening to you and you're like, what is going on? I thought it was all good. Yeah, that's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Sounds like a Friday night.
No, honey, it's good.
Easy. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm in the process of trying to build out a studio. So I can sit people down and have a fucking brew and chat some shit. So whenever that is up and running, I'll ping on your door. Yeah,
man, get me down there. That'll be epic.
Easy, man. Legend.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
See you later, right?
All right, take it easy.
Cool, man. See you later.
Peace.